afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. John Kelly, Profiler here. Welcome. Thanks for checking us out today. If you like what we're doing, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please comment. We love your comments. Please send your comments through. We're always interested in what you have to say. Today's show, Ashlee Buzzard, Abandonment and Obsession. Stick with us. You're going to find this very psychologically interesting, I think. So hang in there with us. If you know anything, please call the tip line. If you know anything about Melodee or maybe something about her mother that you may think may not be worth anything or worth calling for, but yet the cops may be able to use something like that. So if you know anything, say something and report it. Appreciate it. At this point in time, we want to send our sad feelings out, and we want to send out hope and prayers for Melodee. That's the most important thing. Okay. Our sympathies on what's going on. It's pretty sad stuff, but also let's keep those hope and prayers going. Okay. That's very important. Also, I want to put out this disclaimer. I have to put out this disclaimer. These are strictly our opinions on the allegations that are out there. And usually it's mostly news, but it comes from other places too. Ashlee Buzzard is absolutely innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Also, look at the reward. We're putting a $5,000 reward out there, and we just want to see the child. We just want to see Melodee. We're not saying anything about arrest, conviction, nothing. You can have the 5,000 if we can see Melodee is Melodee. Okay. And I'm not even saying dead or alive. I want to see Melodee. I want to know what happened to her. If she's alive, I want her to come home. If Melodee, God forbid, is passed, and I'm sorry to bring that up, we want to know. And we want to see she gets a decent burial. Bottom line. Okay. That's it. Now let's take a look here and see what we have. Oh, yeah, we have our Thrive channel. That's a channel, John Kelly's Thrive, that is focused on addictive illness. I'm recovering myself many years. If, in fact, you or anybody in your family is suffering from addictive illness, I mean, it's a rough disease. It's a rough disease to try and get into recovery from, get well from, I want you to go to Thrive, our channel Thrive. We have it loaded with educational information on all kinds of addictions, especially substance abuse. And we started with gambling, okay? Because gambling is encompassing the whole country. There's no question about it. And it's going to take a big toll. Watch. You're seeing it now. Some of you already realize that. I'm concerned with Ashlee's abandonment and abuse issues pushed her over the edge. That's what I'm really concerned with. But what does it have to do with bringing Melodee home? What happened so many years ago? Not really much, but my analytical mind wants to try to get to the bottom of exactly what transpired. What created Ashlee Buzzard? Yeah, sure. There's always genetics. There's no question about that. They always play some type of role usually. And, we have to understand that she had a father who her mother left when she was 9 years old. So her mother left her father, who was a violent and abusive alcoholic man. The mother took Ashlee when she was 9 years old. What's interesting, the same age Melodee is now, and escaped his violent, abusive ways. God bless her mother. That's all I can say, for having the courage and the guts to do that. And then they end up in some type of shelter or something. Okay. And, living on nothing, broke, have nothing. Okay. So she was abandoned by her father. No question about it. And the abuse, that was directed towards her, that creates an abandoning situation. 9-year-old girl. Now father's there 1 minute, gone the next. How do you deal with that when you're 9 years old? Okay. Then she was abandoned by Stephanie's father, right? I mean, what happened to Stephanie's father? She was abandoned by Stephanie's father. Then she was abandoned by Stephanie. Stephanie's guy. Now, I'm not saying Stephanie didn't deserve to be taken away from Ashlee. There's no question about it. But the bottom line is, we've got her biological father. Then we have Stephanie's father. Then we have Stephanie herself. And I don't know at this point, and probably should, but don't, if Stephanie's father was married to Ashlee or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I'm not sure. Okay. So we have all this abandonment taking place. We're abandoned by, again, 4 people. The biological father, Stephanie's father, Stephanie, and then we're abandoned, and she's abandoned finally. It's the last one we know of, by her boyfriend, who gets killed in a motorcycle accident, car crash, motorcycle accident, however you want to look at it. So she was abandoned by him as well in death. None of these people, okay, set up this abandonment. One way or the other, this abandonment just happened. All right, there's no question about it. And part of it was, I believe, the pathology that was going on with, Ashlee from mental health issues. And let's face it, abandonment can cause a lot of mental health issues. No question about it. Now we're looking at the possible abandonment by the last person in her life, Melodee. What do you think about that? Possibly be abandoned by people taking Melodee away. The last person in her life, she has nobody else. In her mind, don't forget, we're looking at mental illness here. So she has big time fears about being abandoned, by somebody taking Melodee away. The courts or, DYFS or whoever's involved with that kind of stuff. I just think Melodee's the straw that broke the camel's back. I really do. When she felt that she was in a position where she had to try to do whatever to do to hold on to Melodee, that stress from all these different abandonments plus whatever else was going on, and we'll get into that. And I think the stress from spending, yeah. People are obsessive compulsive buyers at times of mental illness. I think all that accumulated, created paranoia, and whatever other mental illness was going on. I think there's a lot of various illnesses at work here. I really do, and we'll soon find out, I hope. It's my opinion Ashlee likes to buy nice things. There's no question about it. I think this buying can be very obsessive, as I mentioned. And this can become obsessive compulsive, spending and an addiction. Obsessive buying can really become a compulsive spending addiction. What is addiction? Obsessive compulsive behavior in many ways, right? That's what leads to it, right? No question about it. I don't care if it's heroin. I don't care if it's cocaine. I don't care if you're spending all your money on everything you see online or in stores or whatever, and you're an obsessive compulsive buyer. Everything costs money. So where was she getting money? Where did the money go? Obviously, the money drove up. We see some bankruptcies. We see some credit cards going bad, unless there was another source or sources for her to gain income. And that's something that bothers me too. That's something that bothers me too. Could her addiction to spending, and again, only my opinion based on the allegations that are out there, her addiction on spending and buying things, could that have created a situation and a need and an addiction for money, because you can't buy this stuff without money, right? Got to have cash. All costs money. Could that have led to, the situation we're in right now? Is there money somewhere? Like I keep saying, follow the money, follow the money. So now we've got to see where this money was coming from. We know she was collecting some disability. We know Ashlee was getting disability. But man, I'll tell you, I don't think disability checks and payments could keep up with this kind of spending. No doubt in my mind. There's something, I believe there's something else here to be revealed. And an addiction to spending or obsessive compulsive buying, I mean, it can create financial destruction, and it will lead to financial ruin. And there's a lot of you out there that understand this and know people that this happened to. Like I said, she's had a bankruptcy or two and a history of creditors chasing her. When you wonder why she hasn't been seen or Melodee hasn't been seen for a while or hiding, I think they were always hiding out. I think they were always trying to dodge people looking for her or Melodee for one reason or another. And I think creditors especially would have been looking too. So in her mind, out of sight, out of mind. That's what I believe with Ashlee Buzzard. Out of sight, out of mind. That could be her motto. I really believe that. And she tried to hide everything, including Melodee. And did a pretty good job of it, too. This can certainly add to mental stress. There's no question about it, and paranoia. If you think people are looking for you all the time, there's no question about it. It's going to cause paranoia. And you could be, closing all the shades, hiding, putting wigs on, wearing hoods, you name it. You're trying to hide yourself. There's no question about it. And, this can lead to paranoia, or her mental illness could have caused a paranoia, which really lends itself to this and hiding out and not being seen. Okay. Just like other substance addictions, obsessive compulsive buying can soothe stress. And let's face it, Ashlee Buzzard has had a lot of stress in her life and trauma. A lot of trauma. Trauma equals a lot of stress and can equal major stress and major other mental illnesses. Okay. And can create a very scary pathology. Okay. Mental pathology. As with many other addictions, money is needed, especially when purchasing. No difference. I mean, you want to go out and have an addiction. And like I said, I don't care if it's gambling. I don't care if it's heroin. I don't care if it's cocaine. And if it's spending. It doesn't make any difference. You need money. Okay, so you have to have money. Money becomes your oxygen. You need money in order to live, to feel alive. Her spending makes her feel alive. If she's fighting other issues, which I believe she is, like depression, paranoia, whatever else is going on. I really believe anxiety from the post-traumatic stress. I mean, we've got a lot of this going on. Okay, so is there any other way Ashlee could have derived money? How else could have Ashlee gotten money? From selling Melodee? I don't want to even really think that. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that. But at this point in time, I have to entertain everything. I have to look at every angle. Remember, if you're not working the angles are working you. Unfortunately, when you come across an angle, then you eliminate it, you move on. And that's what we're trying to do here, but we can't really grasp onto anything because Ashlee will not talk. She won't speak. So on we go, trying to get more answers here. Hopefully law enforcement will get her to talk a little bit more. I will tell you, though, her motto is out of sight, out of mind. Think about it. She doesn't like to be seen. She likes to be hidden, wants to hide Melodee. So Ashlee's motto is out of sight, out of mind in my thinking. That's just my opinion. Like I said, she's innocent until proven guilty. We have nothing really here to hang our hat on as far as she did anything yet to hurt Melodee. We can't prove it. All right. We're going to have to wait and see how this turns out. And if it ever turns out, we're going to have to wait and see. If I were out there in the search for Melodee, I would keep in mind that Ashlee has an extreme visual primary intake sense. She is very concerned on how she looks. She's very concerned on, everything that has to do with her visual primary intake sense. Think about it, the wigs, the cars, the changing of the license plates, very visually oriented. Very, that's her, as far as I'm concerned, that's her primary intake sense. So you can conclude by this. And the way she dresses, I mean, to the nines, going on a long trip, a couple 1,000 miles or something, dressed up like you can't believe, right? Dressed to the nines. And the way she disguises herself in Melodee, that's all very visual stuff. Changing the plates on the cars, all visual stuff, all right? That's not anything else but primary visual, out of sight, out of mind stuff. And the way she's kept Melodee hidden away from being seen, Okay, no question about it. The other thing is, in searching for Melodee, I would keep this top of mind and focus on where she would try to hide her body if she did hurt her or kill her. Where would she have tried to hide her body if she did hurt her or kill her? And I do not want to believe that. I'm sorry I have to talk like this, but I am a realist who's been doing this for many decades. Okay. So you got to understand, that it's a possibility. And I think we all know that, if we're going to be honest with ourselves. Okay. So usually a person with a very strong visual primary intake sense is going to hide someone in an area that they are very familiar with, that they've looked at, that they've gone over, that they've been there probably before, that they've spent time there. They know the ups and downs, the hills and valleys of that particular area. That's the first place I'd start to look. All right. And the other thing is, usually the people that are really, really hardcore, out of sight, out of mind, hide their victims kind of people. All right. I ran into a few. These are like the serial killers that try to bury their victim. They're willing to put the effort into digging the grave, covering it over, and burying the victim like nobody was ever there. And there are some people like that. And they're willing to put the time and the labor into it. I had one guy tell me, oh man, it took me a 6-pack by the time I got that grave dug. Well, the point I'm trying to make to you is some people will go to that extent to hide a body, okay? Or what they like to do, some of them, and they think in their minds, well, I don't feel like digging a grave or whatever, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw them in the ocean, or throw them in a large body of water, and that way they'll sink down. They see, in their mind, they're burying them because they're going down under the water. Nobody can see them. Unfortunately, they don't think far enough away, far enough into the future, or are smart enough to realize that the body will fill up with gases and then rise, or parts of it will rise. Lots of times they don't think that far ahead. They just want it out of sight, because out of sight's out of mind. And believe me, I'm not saying Melodee is dead, but it is a major possibility. And, we have to accept that, like it or not. Also, usually a major number of people who dispose of bodies, like I said, are very extremely familiar with the area. And that's something that the people that are out there searching must keep in mind. Was she there before? It should be. With normal people, it is a place they are familiar with. With somebody that is extremely mentally ill, I don't know what they're thinking and how their mind will work. I mean, but my best guess is that it would have to be an area that they would be familiar with in some way, shape, or form. And I think she's from out in that area to begin with, or has been out there many times in the past, certain parts of that area. for whatever reasons, her ex and family and whatever, right? I hate to talk about Melodee like this, but I can't escape the reality of it. It just really is. And I want to tell you, it is a possible reality, not a probable reality. I don't know. I'll say possible for now. I want to be optimistic, somewhat optimistic. It's been a while. All right. And our reward of $5,000, that is just for body recovery. This is for just Melodee recovery at this point in time. Okay. We have no stipulations attached to it. Okay. You show us proof of Melodee being alive or deceased, and we'll pay a one-time reward of $5,000. We just want the girl to either have a happy home return or to have a proper and honorable burial. If you have any tips, please call the tip line. Thank you so much for tuning in. We truly appreciate you. We can't thank you enough. Most importantly, stay on your toes. Stay safe out there. We live in a very dangerous world, as you can see. You don't know from 1 minute to the next. No, keep an eye on your surroundings. Until we meet again, have a great day. God bless and take care. Thank you.